This episode is brought to you by White Claw Surge. Great podcast pick, friend. No surprises there. After all, you're all about finding the tastiest flavors out there, just like White Claw Surge. And with big, bold flavors to enjoy, like blood orange, blackberry, cranberry, and more, it's time to go all in on taste. Unleash the flavor. Unleash White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. 8% alcohol by volume. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of There Can Only Be One, the podcast that puts together the all-star best of playlists of your favorite bands and artists. Hello to all of our listeners in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? All right. So we are doing a little bit of a left turn for this podcast because normally and traditionally we like to talk about rock artists and occasionally pop artists and whatnot, or some metal artists, because that is right in our wheelhouse. But we cannot ignore everyone. We can't ignore R&B. We can't ignore soul, which means, because we're Canadian, we can't ignore The Weeknd. And here to join me, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, but I do have a question.
Okay.
When exactly does the week end?
I'm not quite sure. Although I might actually know this answer. Because as mentioned in previous interviews, apparently now that The Weeknd has done Hurry Up Tomorrow and put that movie and album out there, he will no longer, now this is apparently, according to interviews, apparently will no longer be recording music as The Weeknd. So I guess The Weeknd ends now.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't ready for this question, but I was ready with an answer, that's for sure. Now, if you listened to our Grading on a Curve special on It's Not That Bad, you'll know that we've been talking about The Weeknd a little bit because Hurry Up Tomorrow, the movie, co-written by and starring The Weeknd, was nominated. Did not win anything at the Razzies, but it got us to thinking about the discography, because there is a big difference between The Weeknd, the actor, and The Weeknd, the musician. So, Carrie, this was your grand idea. Jumping into The Weeknd, aside from like the big songs, songs like Blinding Lights, how familiar were you with the rest of The Weeknd's discography?
Not at all. In fact, what's really cool about this assignment is I never realized, or I now have been educated and enlightened. When I'm shopping, I become far more aware and in tune of, I have heard The Weeknd playing over the loudspeaker at several different shops. And these are like the songs that I would never know, what I was listening to. Mm-hmm. So it has opened my eyes and my ears to a whole new genre of music and really made a connection, or at least an awareness of the music of The Weeknd.
Yeah. And of course, we are a Canadian podcast, so we're here to rep a little bit of Canadian talent along the way. And yeah, I'll admit, I knew of like the big singles, but that's it. There was a world of discovery in going through this discography. How many albums, you ask? Well, let me tell you. We're about to go through 10 albums and mixtapes created by The Weeknd. As always, we're not dealing with any compilations, remix albums, or live albums. Another thing that we are passing by is the soundtrack to the TV show The Idol. of which, of course, The Weeknd was a star, and he was a major player on. They basically released a bunch of EPs, one for each episode of the series. But because The Weeknd is not the sole artist on those EP releases, we are not covering it because that's kind of our rule here. If an artist appears on a soundtrack but isn't the only artist on that soundtrack, we don't cover those songs. If, however, you get a situation like if somewhere down the road we do like a Queen discography, well, you darn right we're talking about the Flash Gordon soundtrack because that was them. That was all them. Here, not so much. Specifically, I also mentioned mixtapes because we're not covering Trilogy, even though it was released as a full album. Trilogy is a combination of The Weeknd's first 3 mixtapes. We're going to be dealing with those mixtapes as the individual releases that they originally were. We're going to start with House of Balloons, released March 21st, 2011. Hit number 1 in Greece and number 113 on the Billboard 200. It's platinum in Canada and gold in Australia and the UK. There were 2 singles off of this one. Wicked Games charted the highest, hitting number 19 in Sweden, number 53 in the US, and number 43 in Canada. So here we have the embryonic release from The Weeknd. Your thoughts on this disc and what's your pick?
It's interesting that you mentioned Wicked Games because that was on my short list. I think starting it off, I just have to put it out there. A lot of his themes of his songs and music are about tragic love and failed relationships or challenging relationships.
So says Jenna Ortega in Hurry Up Tomorrow.
And I found Wicked Games, although it was on my short list, I liked it. It wasn't my pick off of this album.
So what did you go with?
I went with 28 House of Balloons. No, not in the tune of 99 Red Balloons at all. But off of the album House.
Now I can't not hear it that way.
Yeah, you like it? You like it? I was holding on to that one. I went with 28, which is not a happy song at all.
Nope.
But it's really pretty though. It was pretty. The piano just made it a lovely listen. But if you actually, open up the lyric page, it's not a happy song.
Now, here's the thing with 28 though. It wasn't on the original standard edition of House of Balloons. It was included on the 2012 reissue as a bonus track and did appear on Trilogy when it came out as the full album. But that's okay because I picked it too.
Oh, okay. I'm like, does it count?
It does count. You know what? We always say on this show, like sometimes you get the album and then you get the reissue of the album with a couple of bonus tracks. Those bonus tracks exist there for a reason. I liked 28. I really did. I found it very cinematic with a hypnotic groove. And this is going to be one of those interesting kind of episodes because if you listen to this podcast enough, then you know that Carrie and I really don't listen to music the same way, especially rock and metal, because of course I'm a musician, Carrie is not. So we listen to music for different things and for different reasons, but we're not talking metal or rock here. I am out of my wheelhouse with all of this. Have I played Blinding Lights live as an artist? Yes, I have. Do I know any of the other songs? To hear them, sure. But this feels like, and this is a lot of what I think The Weeknd is able to really do well. Create almost like dark movie montage music. The kind of music that you would sit there in the middle of a film when things aren't going right. This is the music that would kind of fill that background.
Which makes it really challenging when you hear it when you're shopping. And I'm like, I was in a good mood and now I just want to go get ice cream.
Oh, dear God. I did have Wicked Games, and I had High for This also on my short list.
Well, that was a good one, too.
It was a good one, yeah. But yeah, for me, the biggest and the best song on this is from the reissue. 28 definitely stands out. And I think it probably benefits, too, from being on the reissue. Probably had a little bit more production work put on in the background. So, yeah, production-wise, it also stands out as well. Thursday, released August 18th, 2011, hit number 15 on the U.S. top album sales charts and number 16 on the UK R&B albums charts, and is silver in the UK. There is one single off of this one, The Zone, featuring Drake. So what did you go with?
Oh, Jay, you are the life of the party. And that was my pick. It was the most fun, groovy, catchy tune off of the album. It really stuck out.
Okay, we are 2 for 2 already in this. This
fascinating.
I'm very curious about this. Like I said, I know we listen to rock and metal differently. I wonder if we listen to R&B the same. That'd be really fascinating because, yeah, Life of the Party is my pick as well. It's got this cool, haunted funhouse macabre vibe to it, and I kind of like it.
Ooh, I like that descriptor.
Yeah. And it's basically like a twisted funhouse kind of vibe. They need to put this song in the Terrifier soundtracks. I know Ice Nine Kills is probably all over that, but you tell me this song wouldn't fit in some kind of horror movie vibe?
No, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I thought it was more upbeat, actually. I found it kind of had this groove.
It's upbeat, but it just has an ambiance of a twisted funhouse kind of thing. That's why I say Terrifier. It would totally fit in that. Yeah,
definitely something with clowns, if not Art the Clown, but definitely yeah.
This isn't like Alice Cooper with Can't Sleep, the Clowns Will Eat Me. Echoes of Silence, released December 21st, 2011, hit number 18 on the US top album sales charts and number 12 on the Greek charts. Now, here's where I want to point out the accolades for this trilogy. This was the full-length release that included all 3 EPs. 1, the R&B Soul Recording of the Year Award at the 2013 Juno. So, as a whole, the 3 mixtapes got their accolades. And I find it fascinating that 3 mixtapes were released in the same calendar year. Like, that is a lot of content coming out from The Weeknd right off the bat. But off of Echoes of Silence, what did you pick?
You know what I thought was really cool was his cover of Dirty Diana.
Mm-hmm.
And what was even more interesting is when I started to realize that a lot of his songs had almost kind of like you could feel that they were inspired by Michael Jackson. And then I did a bit more reading and research, and I found out that he was a huge Michael Jackson fan. So it only made sense that he covered Dirty Diana on this album.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a runner-up. I liked Imitation. I liked how it kind of had like a varying tempo and a rap component. Like it was kind of more rap as opposed to like soul, R&B, more melodic, kind of more in the vein of The Weeknd. I liked it because it was different. It stood out. But inevitably, I went with the song Next.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the standout on this album. And out of all of the great songs and the runners-up that I mentioned, Next was my favorite.
I'm really glad you mentioned Dee Dee because this is my pick. There is no short list on this album. But I mean, it takes a lot of chutzpah, if you will, to say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna cover Michael Jackson, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Michael Jackson isn't uncoverable. Hello, Alien Ant Farm. Tell Me Smooth Criminal isn't the better version of that song, mind you. But Dirty Diana was always going to be one of Michael Jackson's better songs anyways. If I remember correctly, I think Dirty Diana might have actually been my only one when we did the Michael Jackson episode. And yes, The Weeknd does have a very MJ kind of vibe to his voice. And that's a compliment. Like that, the Michael Jackson voice, his singing voice, and even some of his songwriting too, a lot of his songwriting, is sorely missed from the music world since his passing. Like, I like to think that if The Weeknd is carrying the torch for what MJ was doing in a much more darker, ethereal kind of vibe, I like that. I like that addition to the music landscape. And I think he's doing a really good job of covering that. And this cover of Dirty Diana Like the original Dirty Diana with the Jennifer Batten guitar solo on that is a monster of a song. But I think that this is, like when you watch a movie trailer and they'll do like some spooky, eerie cover of a song that you know the song, but it's this almost ethereal type version. Nirvana gets this a lot. How many movie trailers have used a Nirvana song, but like some female vocalist doing an ethereal version of that song?
Oh, the haunting cover of Teen Spirit.
Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So to me, this feels like what a movie trailer would do with Dirty Diana if they were going to use it for a movie trailer. It kind of makes sense that The Weeknd would get into TV and film, given the cinematic nature of the work that he's putting out.
Get in the game with the college-branded Venmo debit card. Wreck your team with every tap and earn up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash, a new rewards program from Venmo. No monthly fee, no minimum balance, just school pride and spending power. Get in the game and sign up for the Venmo debit card at venmo.com/collegecard. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
Kissland, released September 10th, 2013, hit number 1 on the UK R&B charts and on the US R&B and hip hop charts, and number 2 on the Billboard 200 and in Canada. It is platinum in Canada and gold in Denmark, UK, and the US. There were 6 singles off of this one. Wanderlust charted the highest, hitting number 45 in Canada, and Live For hit number 111 in the UK. At the 2014 Junos, it was nominated for R&B Soul Recording of the Year, but lost to Can't Choose by Jordan featuring Cardinal Official. So there, we had some Juno nominations here as well. Kissland for you, though. Like, there's a lot of singles off of this one. What hit for you?
You know what's so funny? I wrote Live For as a pass. What I did like was the song Professional.
Okay. Ooh.
It was the first song off the album. It caught my attention. It set the tone. It had this like theatrical, almost like a stage play. Like you could see this being the opening song of, of an incredible theatrical event. It almost kind of made it sound like a concept album.
Mm-hmm. Oh, a lot of his albums do feel like concept albums. It's insane. Like I know we're going to eventually get to, Hurry Up Tomorrow, because that ended up being basically a concept album. But there's a lot of, his albums where they could be movies unto themselves. Yeah. Kissland's kind of right up there. And I had Professional right on my short list. And it was the song for me until I hit Wanderlust.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Like right off the bat, that soulful guitar intro, right into the solid beat. Like, and again, hip hop, R&B, not my wheelhouse, but this really did it for me. I also had Belong to the World on my short list. But yeah, there is a lot of good to say about Kissland. Beauty Behind the Madness, released August 28th, 2015, hit number 1 in Australia, Canada, Norway, Sweden, the UK, and the US. It is 7 times platinum in Canada, 6 times platinum in the US, 5 times platinum in Denmark, triple platinum in New Zealand, double platinum in Australia and the UK, and it is platinum in Austria, Italy, Poland, Sweden, and Mexico, which means odds are, dear listeners, you have a copy of this album. There were 5 singles off of this one. The Hills and Can't Feel My Face both hit number 1 in the US and Canada. At the 88th Academy Awards, Earned It was nominated for Best Original Song for its use in the movie 50 Shades of Grey. And we've covered that movie already over on It's Not That Bad. But it lost to Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith from the movie Spectre, which I think by Academy Award rules, if you are up against a James Bond song, you're not going to win. At the 2015 Junos, Often won for R&B Soul Recording of the Year. Then, at the 2016 Junos, it won for Album of the Year and R&B Soul Recording of the Year, the album that is. At the 58th Grammys, the album won for Best Urban Contemporary Album. Earned It won for Best R&B Performance and was nominated for Best Song Written for Visual Media, but lost to Glory by Common and John Legend from the movie Selma. It was also nominated for Best R&B Song, but lost to Really Love by D'Angelo. Can't Feel My Face was nominated for Best Pop Solo Performance, but lost to Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran, and was nominated for Record of the Year, but lost to Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars. And of course it did, because Uptown Funk is played everywhere. And the album was nominated for Album of the Year, but lost to 1989 by Taylor Swift, as I think everyone did that year. All right. Beauty Behind the Madness. This is like the first massive album for the Weeknd. Your thoughts on the disc, and what did you go with?
Yes to all of it. I mean, you basically said it all. This is a solid album. Like, honestly, my short list is pretty much every track. I mean, obviously the ones that you mentioned, Earned It, Can't Feel My Face. Those are incredible songs, but the ones you didn't mention is In the Night. I found this one was incredibly inspired by Michael Jackson. I found that the sound, the vibe, it literally sounded like a lost tune off of a Michael Jackson album. Mm-hmm. It was so good. In the Night, fantastic. Tell Your Friends, the vocals, wow. That's literally all I wrote, is like his vocal power and performance is so good. Of course, we've got Real Life and Dark Times, 2 different songs that, again, you're revisiting his almost tragic heartbreak and his bad relationship status. Like, Often, of course, is catchy and singable. Of course, Can't Feel My Face is like, you can't go anywhere without hearing that song. But my pick, The Hills. Mm-hmm. I love that song. It's funny because it's one that, obviously it's a hit. It's played often. It's really the best of an incredible album. So that's saying a lot.
I would be very curious to see what would happen if this album was turned into a movie. That'd be a real fascinating film. On my short list, I did have The Hills on my short list, as did Can't Feel My Face and Dark Times. But I was kind of blown away by Real Life. How in the whatever is done to pick the songs and the singles, how was Real Life not put out as a single? The 5 singles that were put out, Often, The Hills, Can't Feel My Face, In the Night, and Acquainted. Throw in a 6th one if you want to call Earned It a single, because of course it was on the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack. How was Real Life not bigger than anything else on this disc? It is fantastic. This feels like it should be in a movie. This feels like it could be used for any kind of montage that you ever wanted to put together. This is what The Weeknd does really well. Makes music that you want to close your eyes and visualize what the video should be. Real Life did that for me. Like the up progression during the chorus, the violin solo during the outbridge. This is the end montage to a film with a happy ending. Starboy, released November 25th, 2016, hit number 1 in Australia, Canada, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden, Slovakia, US, and on the UK R&B charts. It is diamond in Brazil and in Poland. It is 7 times platinum in Canada and Denmark, 6 times platinum in New Zealand and the US, triple platinum in Australia and France, double platinum in the UK, Sweden and Italy, and platinum in Austria, Belgium, Germany, Norway, Singapore, and Mexico. There were 8 singles off of this one. Starboy hit number 1 on 22 different charts, including in Canada and on the Billboard Hot 100. I Feel It Coming also hit number 1 in France, and Die For You hit number 1 in the US. At the 2017 Junos, Starboy was nominated for Album of the Year, but lost to You Want It Darker by Leonard Cohen. Also, You Want It Darker sounds like something The Weeknd would actually write, because you get some of that vibe on some of these albums.
That sounds like an excellent title for 50 Shades 4.
Oh, God. The album won for R&B Soul Recording of the Year, and Starboy was nominated as Single of the Year but lost his spirits by the Strumbellas. Then, at the 2018 Junos, I Feel It Coming was nominated for Single of the Year but lost to There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. And at the 60th Grammys, it won for Best Urban Contemporary Album. So obviously, we've got some big songs off of this disc, but what did you go with?
I went with a completely different song that you haven't mentioned yet.
Oh?
I did. I went with False Alarm. Hey, hey, hey. It's like Blinding Lights, only better. I loved this song, if anything, for that hype. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was the one that stood out. It was the most fun.
All right, well, let me just go through the singles here. All 8 of them. Starboy, you mentioned False Alarm. That's released as a single. I Feel It Coming, Party Monster, Reminder, Rockin', Die For You, and Secrets. My pick was not a single. Not at all. But also, how can you have an album? I mean, I guess with 18 songs, 8 singles, I guess works. But I ended up going with Love to Lay as my pick. And there's something really kind of cool about it, because it feels, this is one of the first songs that I've encountered on his discography to this point that feels like it was written on an acoustic guitar and then translated in production, right? It's got a good mid-tempo bop. It's got a decent groove. You've got the chorus rising to arena levels. Like, this is a solid song. I did have Starboy, Rockin', and A Lonely Night as my short list, but Love to Lay really kind of stood out for me for this one. My Dear Melancholy, the EP, released March 30th, 2018, hit number 1 in Canada, Denmark, Norway, South Korea, Sweden, the UK, and the US. It's platinum in the US, Canada, New Zealand, Denmark, and Poland, and had only 1 single. Call Out My Name hit number 1 in Canada. At the 2019 Junos, it was nominated for Album of the Year but lost to Shawn Mendes' self-titled album. Pray For Me was nominated for Single of the Year but lost to In My Blood by Shawn Mendes, and the album was nominated for R&B Soul Recording of the Year but lost to Being Human in Public by Jesse Reyes. So this EP, it feels like a bit of a tonal shift coming off of Starboy, but what did you go with?
I mean, you can't argue with the release, the single.
Mm-hmm.
Call Out My Name sounded like it should have been on 50 Shades of Grey. It's a missed opportunity that it was not on the soundtrack. But the cool thing is that I had 2 choices. There's an a cappella version, which, damn, the isolated vocals, it made it such a tough choice between the a cappella and the regular version. But inevitably, I think there's just something with the musical background, the accompanying instruments that just added to this song, and it gave it brought it to life. I mean, vocally, a cappella, it's beautiful and really highlights and really just, it's so perfect for The Weeknd's voice, which is incredibly powerful, but with the added music. Call Out My Name is my pick.
See, I once again went off the board. from the singles. I only had one pick as my only thing. I had no short list for this. Hurt You was my pick off of this one. And I think as you go through the discography of an artist, you latch onto certain aspects of that artist and what they do with their songs. This was it for me. It's, an ethereal keys kind of thing. You got a falsetto chorus. You got a mid-tempo hypnotic beat. This to me is The Weeknd. This is what he does best. He just kind of lulls you into this bourbon drinking kind of vibe with his songs. And that's not a bad thing at all.
Also, note, must get some more bourbon.
Must get more bourbon. After Hours, released March 20th, 2020, hit number 1 in Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, the Czech Republic, Denmark, the Netherlands, Estonia, Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Lithuania, Mexico, New Zealand, Norway, Slovakia, Switzerland, UK, and on the US Billboard 200. Can I just say the world? Hit number 1 in the world. It is diamond in France, the Netherlands, and Poland, 6 times platinum in Denmark, 5 times platinum in Canada, 4 times platinum in Italy, triple platinum in Austria and the US, double platinum in Belgium, Norway, and Sweden, and platinum in Australia, Germany, New Zealand, Portugal, Singapore, and the UK. There were 5 singles off of this one. Little song you might have heard of, Blinding Lights, charted the highest, hitting number 1 seemingly everywhere. Heartless also hit number 1 in the US, and Save Your Tears hit number 1 in multiple countries. At the 2021 Junos, Serban Ganea won for Recording Engineer of the Year for Blinding Lights and for Positions by Ariana Grande. The album won for Album of the Year. Blinding Lights won Single of the Year, and the album won for Contemporary R&B Soul Recording of the Year. This is obviously The Weeknd's biggest song. Blinding Lights, for you. Is it your pick?
It is. I can't. You know what? It is, really. I mean, I shortlisted Save Your Tears. I thought it was kind of had a funky vibe. But yeah, I mean, you can't argue with perfection. And there's a reason why Blinding Lights is really iconic. I mean, when you think of The Weeknd, you think of Blinding Lights. It's just the two go hand in hand. And I mean, you can't argue that. So yeah, it is definitely it was my easy pick.
I mean, I can argue it.
Oh.
I'm not going to.
Oh.
It's my pick. It's absolutely not. You can always tell the impact of a song by just how many artists from different genres come out and cover it. And there are a number of covers of Blinding Lights out there. I think Saint Asonia had one of the better ones out there, putting that hard rock vibe to it. I had In Your Eyes on my short list, but of course it was going to be Blinding Lights. Like, a song doesn't become that much of a game changer in an artist's discography. It's not a far-fetched to say that this is his biggest song, period. Yes, there are other good songs on his discography and others that have, done well and earned accolades. But Blinding Lights is the ish. It is. And I kind of feel bad for him. I know it feels weird to say that, knowing that we're sitting here saying, well, Blinding Lights is his best song ever. But imagine this, right? You make an album and it's got the biggest song of your career. It's about to become the biggest song of your career. It's about to smash everything. And you release the album and then everyone goes into lockdown and you can't tour on that album. Because this came out as things were just starting to shut down for the COVID pandemic. This is the album that The Weeknd performed the Super Bowl halftime show for. And that was a very cool performance. Like, again, another thing I kind of feel bad for. The one pandemic era Super Bowl. And yes, there were some people in the stands, but it's not like, regular Super Bowls. He did the best that he could with the production that they put together, a fantastic production, had a lot of stadium, space to use up. But yeah, a very interesting time. And I applaud artists who did put out music during the pandemic. That can't have been easy. The idea of putting an album out is to be able to tour on that song. So imagine what this tour would have been like the minute Blinding Lights hit the radio.
Well, the song still exploded. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
It didn't hinder the song hitting just the atmosphere. Like, it's huge.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not taking anything away from the song. Like I said, I just feel bad that you couldn't tour on this album. This probably became the ultimate, living room dance party song of the first year of the pandemic. Dawn FM, released January 7th, 2022, hit number 1 in Canada, Australia, the Netherlands, Finland, Ireland, Lithuania, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, the UK, and hit number 2 on the Billboard 200. It is triple platinum in Canada and platinum in Denmark, France, Italy, New Zealand, Poland, and the US. At the 2022 Junos, Take My Breath, nominated for Single of the Year but lost to Meaningless by Charlotte Cardin, but it won Contemporary R&B Soul Recording of the Year. Then at the 2023 Junos, it won for Album of the Year, won for Pop Album of the Year, and Sacrifice won for Single of the Year. Dawn FM, your thoughts and your pick.
I'm actually going to deflect. I'm going to put it over to you. Did you like this album?
Not one bit.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm not alone. I felt horrible because as much as I will lift up the other 9 albums that we're talking about here, and I know that there's more.
Mm-hmm. We got one more after this one.
This entire album to me was like nails on a chalkboard. It was, I found myself, I listened to it twice and I found myself questioning, and I wrote down, what year is it? The synth crazy Casio keyboard vibe that was consistent throughout the entire album. It wasn't just one song, hey, let's kind of take it back and hit the keys and make it almost kind of synth poppy. It was consistent through the entire album, and it was too much. It was not my favorite of the albums.
Was not your jam.
It was not my jam, but there was one song that was a standout.
Okay.
And it is I Heard You're Married. It kind of, to me, had almost like a Prince vibe, which again falls into kind of that, like, I don't know, like synth kind of like pop. Prince is pop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the artist formerly known as Prince and the artist formerly known now as The Weeknd, I Heard You're Married was kind of the standout of an album that I just wasn't digging.
I mean, I liked the concept of an album acting like a late night radio show, right? I know that one of your favorite sitcoms of all times, WKRP in Cincinnati.
True.
Fantastic sitcom. There were moments on this album where I felt like I was listening to the late night Venus Flytrap show from WKRP in Cincinnati. And I think that's why my pick off of this is Phantom Regret by Jim. This is a very, very cool song. Like, I was totally getting Venus Flytrap vibes off of this, right? It's this cool, kind of ethereal, dark, soulful kind of vibe, but then it's not singing. It's almost like a late night DJ doing beat poetry over this. And I'm with you. I'm not a fan of the album. I like the concept of the album. Phantom Regret by Jim saved the album for me.
It's interesting. I almost thought that was kind of like an intermission. Like, I didn't count it as a song.
You know what? Sometimes there are times when I'll be listening to an album and you get this like little instrumental thing before you get into a song. And I'm just like, this instrumental part is the album. sometimes those little musical interludes are exactly, and I think too, Phantom Regret by Jim exemplifies what The Weeknd was trying to do with the album. So it's almost, I mean, it's not just a cool track, from a music's point of view, but I think it's the one signature piece that says, this is what this album stands for, and should be taken as. We end our journey with Hurry Up Tomorrow, released January 31st, 2025. Hit number 1 in Australia, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, the Netherlands, France, Germany, Hungary, Ireland, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Scotland, Slovakia, the UK, and on the Billboard 200. And it's platinum in France. There were 3 singles off of this one. Timeless charted the highest, hitting number 4 in Canada and number 3 in the US. At the 2025 Junos, The Weeknd was nominated for Songwriter of the Year but lost to Mustafa, and Timeless was nominated for Single of the Year but lost to X's by Tate McRae. And at the time of recording this episode, the 2026 Junos have not been handed out. However, it is nominated for Album of the Year, and Hurry Up Tomorrow is nominated for Pop Album of the Year. Now, we have talked at length about the movie itself on Grading on a Curve. I don't want to rehash the movie discussion. Your thoughts on the album, though?
Yes, I felt that Hurry Up Tomorrow is the perfect end song to the album. Just the line lyrically, burn me with your light, capsulizes in one sentence the entire movie concept. And I was so for it. I mean, I really liked the movie. Again, we're not talking about the movie. I'm not here to praise it, but it was my inspiration to pitch The Weeknd as an artist to cover for There Can Only Be One. So there you go. As much as I like the song, title track to the movie, Hurry Up Tomorrow, I went with, and I know I'm going to mispronounce this, I went with Sao Paulo.
You're close.
And it's fun. It's upbeat. It matches the mood of the scene and just the madness, the chaos, whether it's his inner thoughts or the manifestation from the drugs and the alcohol and the pills that his people keep popping him. This song matches his madness perfectly, and it matches the scene. And without saying too much, watch the movie. This song is absolutely perfect.
See, this is really interesting because if you've listened to that episode of Grading on a Curve over on It's Not That Bad, then you already know that I'm not a fan of the movie at all. But I like the album. I like the album a lot. I have a very deep short list off of this. I have Sao Paulo, Reflections Laughing, Take Me Back to LA, The Abyss, and Without a Warning as my short list. But one scene out of the film did actually kind of stand out for me. And then it's hard to not associate the album with the film because one is the impetus of the other. But Wake Me Up. This is one of those really cool moments where you almost get to see his point of view. I mean, yes, it's from behind him, but it follows kind of from behind him as opposed to in front of him. And like that concert moment, right? It's stylistically, it's like this one long steady cam shot, and it's really well done. As much as I'm not a fan of the movie, by the way, this is also the scene right after Jenna Ortega burns the house down for reasons unknown. Sorry, not talking about the film, but this moment in the film hooked me in because there's a lot of cool cinematography to it. I've never had a chance to play to a crowd that big. So to see that kind of view right behind the artist, just looking out of the crowd, walking down that runway as this song is playing, that's an aspirational view to have. It works well in the film and it works well on the album. All right. So now we get to the point where we have to really make our pick. So Carrie, please remind our listeners what your 10 song picks are from the Weeknd's discography. And if there can only be one Weeknd song, what's it going to be?
I'm ready. Taking it back to 2011 and the first of the trilogy, from House of Balloons, I went with 28. From Thursday, I went with Life of the Party. And from Echoes of Silence, I went with Next. In 2013, from Kissland, I went with The Professional. From 2015's Beauty Behind the Madness, I chose The Hills. From 2016, Starboy, I selected False Alarm. And from 2018's My Dear Melancholy, I picked Call Out My Name, but the one with the instrumental version. Although it was a tough call, the a cappella was nice too. From 2020, After Hours, of course I picked Blinding Lights. From 2022's Dawn FM, I Heard You're Married. And from 2025's Hurry Up Tomorrow, I went with Sao Paulo. And my only one is, of course, The Hills. Of course it is.
I get that. All right, for me, from House of Balloons, I went with 28. From Thursday, I went with Life of the Party. From Echoes of Silence, I went with Dee Dee. Off of Kissland, I went with Wanderlust. From Beauty Behind the Madness, I went with Real Life. Off of Starboy, I went with Love to Lay. From My Dear Melancholy, I went with Hurt You. From After Hours, I too also went with Blinding Lights. From Dawn FM, I went with Phantom Regret by Jim. And from Hurry Up Tomorrow, I went with Wake Me Up. But if there can only be one The Weeknd song for me, I'm going with a song that was not released as a single, and how it wasn't, I have no idea. I'm going with Real Life off of Beauty Behind the Madness. I know, neither of us picked Blinding Lights. I find this fascinating. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there is an artist that you want us to cover on There Can Only Be One, or an album that you want us to cover on Spin Shuffle Skip, hit us up on social media at OnlyOneCast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And if you want to help out the show, wherever you listen to your podcast, give us a 5-star review, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is There Can Only Be One, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.